Hey guys, Zomfox here, and today we're going to be talking about the fact that two spring football players were just named to the 2024 NFL All-Pro team. As you can see by the thumbnail, it's the two guys we've always talked about, KaVontae Turpin and Brandon Aubrey of the Dallas Cowboys. So yes, two former USFL players both made the same All-Pro team. Well, kind of same year, not the exact same team. First time that we have seen this in this ultra-modern era. Of course, we did see Brandon Aubrey make the first team All-Pro last year as the lone Spring Football League player to be an All-Pro, so this is a pretty big deal. So without further ado, let's get started with KaVontae Turpin. KaVontae Turpin was the first team All-Pro kick returner. He is the first Dallas Cowboy to ever get that honor, if I remember seeing that correctly. And yes, this is his first official All-Pro. I know someone's going to say, wait, didn't I hear him be an All-Pro before? Yeah, you heard him on the NFLPA All-Pro, which, while it's, a cool thing, just like the NFL Top 100, the AP is the one that matters. That's the real All-Pro team, and that's the one Turpin just got first team for. Not even really a shock. Let's just get the one stat out of the way that essentially cleared him from everyone else. He had 904 kick return yards. That led the entire league in kickoff return yards, which of course is a pretty big deal. No one else even had 800. Now, I believe it was like Rasheem Blackshear was like about 9 away from 800, but even then, no one else hit 800, and aside from him, Blackshear, no one else even had 600. So Turpin not only got this kick return yardage mark, but he did it by a country mile. And in fact, this is his most return yards he's had in a single season to his career. Of course, this is the year where they did the big change going to the old XFL method of the kickoff or the kick returns, which, a lot of people like it, a lot of other people really hate it. The point is, though, is that it's not like Turpin was doing that. He didn't do that. He played in the USFL, not the XFL in 2022, so obviously there was no XFL that year. So he was able to just fit right in with the kickoff and did a great job with it, having more yards than his previous 2 years combined. He also did have that 199-yard touchdown as well, one against the Commies, if I remember correctly. I mean, not a shock. He was also a really solid punt returner overall, but again, what mainly did it was his kick return. Just an insane season, and even then it's also the fact that as an actual player, not a special teamer, best year by far. 31 receptions is almost triple what his entire career is to this point. He had a total of 13 the previous 2 years. He had 31 this season. 420 yards is more than triple his career total, or again, like right there. 13.5 yards per reception, the best of his career. He did fall 1 TD short receiving-wise, and 2 overall. He didn't have the rushing one. But he did have 2 touchdowns on the return game, so he technically did match his overall touchdown total of 4 for 4. But even rushing, he was still, able to do some trick plays. He did have 16 carries for 92 yards, so he was a little worse there, but receiving-wise, he actually showed he can be a really good receiver. Look, what he did in 2022 with the Generals was he proved that he was a great yak guy. He was somebody who could take like a quick slant and just book it for like another 10 to a touchdown. And he was able to do that a lot more this season. He made a couple of highlight grabs. He was an overall really solid player. Especially when Dak went down, they were running Cooper Rush and all that. He was still able to have an overall good season. And it's to the point where if you're a Cowboys fan, you would say that he's like at worst the 4th or 5th best player on the entire team. And technically speaking, should be top 3 considering the fact that he's one of the, 3 Cowboys that was an All-Pro this season. And as somebody who has perennially been a top-tier player, he's a now 2-time Pro Bowler. He led the league in kickoff return yards and just had an overall solid season. Congratulations to KaVontae Turpin. Now, Brandon Aubrey was a second-team All-Pro kicker. Boswell deserved first team, and it wasn't even close. I say it wasn't even close. Yes, Aubrey had the more true distance kicks, but overall Boswell was basically right there with him. Boswell actually had him beaten field goals made by 1, having 41 instead of 40. He was only 1 shy of the 50-plus, right? The big record this season was the 50-plus yard field goals. Everyone wants to talk about the rushing record that Saquon almost broke. The real record that should have been carried out was the 50-yard field goal record, because we saw 4 overall kickers break what was the record, and Aubrey ended up being above them all. Jason Sanders, Kyami Fairbairn, and Chris Boswell all would have had the record, pending how certain things played out. Aubrey got it. He kicked 14 50-plus yard field goals, which included a 65-yarder, which is the Cowboys franchise record, and obviously is the second longest field goal of all time. Huge deal. I mean, he attempted a 70-yarder, he had a couple huge preseason moments, kicked other 60-yarders, missed another 60-yarder, but was also perfect in extra points. Again, Boswell obviously was going to get first team All-Pro. His accuracy was over 90%, and he kicked 41 made field goals. Aubrey led the entire league in field goals attempted this season. And again, look, these records that are from the Wikipedia page don't even say everything he did. 40-plus field goals made, only been done a few times. And again, we had 2 kickers do it this year, but Aubrey was one of them. First kicker to ever kick a mile's worth of field goals in a single season. I mean, it's just, he was the second-team All-Pro kicker. Like I was talking about my spring football kicker rankings in the NFL this season. He was the best spring football league kicker. He was better than Bates. Bates kind of tapered off the end of the season. He didn't kick nearly as many field goals as Aubrey did, and it comes to a point where the amount you make does matter. Aubrey made a ton of them. He had like those couple games, someone early on that kind of tanked his average, especially like he had like the back-to-back weeks where he missed like about 3 field goals, had 1 blocked and all that, but even with that, still finished at an 85% for the season. And many people, despite him being second-team All-Pro, would say he's the best kicker in the league. That the last few weeks kind of proved it. He's a guy that can kick from pretty much anywhere on the field. Wouldn't be shocked if we see him attempt a 70-yarder next season and actually make it. If anyone's going to break the 66-yard record, it's Aubrey, because Aubrey can definitely do it. We already know he can kick a 72-yarder from the field goal that he made in the preseason. Would have been good from 72, so we'll see. But overall, that'll do it. Just a quick video talking about the fact that we had 2 Spring Football League players make the All-Pro teams. What's important to note about this is the fact that the Dallas Cowboys, at this moment, if you were to say who are their 5 keyest pieces on their team, 2 of them are spring football players. KaVontae, Turpin, and Brandon Aubrey have been 2 of the most consistent players for this team over the past, really, since Turpin joined the team in 2022. Micah Parsons has always tapered off at the end of the season. This year he had some injury problems. They've had injury problems at other places on defense. Dak Prescott is a guy that routinely is going to let you down when it matters. Really, it's CeeDee Lamb, Aubrey, Turpin, and that's really like your big 3. The reason they were the 3 All-Pros is because they were the most consistent, and again, health is a big deal, healthy guys across the season. Aubrey and Turpin have been really great players. No shock they were All-Pros this year, and they probably will continue to be All-Pros in the future. We'll see. Make sure to subscribe and hit the bell. We're getting closer and closer to 1,000 subscribers. The 2025 UFL season is just a couple months away. Again, you're going to see some guys that go on in the NFL. We saw a few guys this year. Tillman, Redmond, a couple other great defensive linemen end up having some big years this year from the UFL or from the USFL or XFL. A lot of stuff like that. As always, guys, have a great night.